everybody, welcome to this episode of Inside Brooklyn, sponsored by the Brooklyn Commons and WJMS Radio. I am so excited to be here. Season 2 is on and popping here in Brooklyn Commons, and I'm really excited. We have an awesome lineup of guests for you guys. Shout out to the folks behind the scenes that make this podcast possible, that have provided us with this beautiful location to broadcast in, and have connected us with the wonderful people that we're talking to over the next couple of weeks for the show. I also want to thank the folks at WJMS that helped make this possible as well, and I want to thank the folks that are sponsoring this eventually. Because there should be a few, according to Madam Extraordinaire over here, Joanne. So I'm really excited to be here. I have special guests with me, Desmond Monroe from the Monroe Group. And Desmond is the president and CEO of the Monroe Group. It's a program management, disaster recovery, and compliance consulting firm headquartered in Brooklyn, New York. He's a valued partner and sought-after consultant to small and mid-sized nonprofits and large organizations seeking subject matter expertise in portfolio and program management, operational excellence, disaster recovery, and strategic planning. Desmond is an influential leader with over 10 years of experience in providing a broad range of advisory services and guidance to private organizations, non-governmental organizations, and government agencies. He's a proponent of continuous process improvement through a robust project management methodology, and in his spare time, he's active in the community with a focus on organizations involved in urban development and community growth. He's a trusted and valued United Nations non-governmental liaison, and he serves on the Brooklyn Community Board as a Land Use and Economic Development Committee member for North Brooklyn. So I'm really excited to welcome you to the show today. That's a lot.
I'm really sure all that.
You need to make it one sentence or something.
I'm just hearing it back, and I'm just like,
it's a lot. It's a whole lot.
That's a lot.
But anyway, it's well deserved, obviously. So welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, actually. It's a beautiful day. I meditated this morning for an hour, so I'm starting my day right.
I wish I had the time, I guess I'm saying, but like meditation for an hour, like I'm just like what do you think about? Nothing. That's the point, right? Like what do you think about for an hour? Nothing. So I gave the audience a little bit of background on you professionally, but why don't you give the audience some background on you personally, who you are and where you came from?
Well, I'm Desmond Shalom Monroe. I'm West African descent. My family, is born in Philadelphia, raised in New York. I've traveled, I've done all kinds of things around the world, and I just really spend a lot of time right now focusing on community development and disaster recovery and kind of building, better builders in a better world and all kinds of fun stuff.
So disaster recovery sounds absolutely terrifying. Why don't you talk a little bit about what that means to the audience? Like, what do you do for disaster recovery?
Okay, so this is going to get a little nerdy, but I have to in order to really get it, all right? So once there's disaster preparedness and the immediate disaster response and disaster recovery. So disaster preparedness, that's where you get your pamphlets and Red Cross to tell you what to do with disaster. Usually disaster relief happens after it happens, you get your Red Cross and things like that. And then disaster recovery is more when these funds are funneled from the United States government, Congress. It's called Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery Funds. Once those billions of dollars are released for the recovery effort, then usually that administration or that government official, governor, whatever, will put together a team of people to look at everything and say, how the hell are we going to put this back together? And I'm usually part of that team.
Okay. So you must have liked doing puzzles and things like that and putting stuff back together.
It's very interesting, right? Because when you try to do on the community development side, you have to work within existing infrastructures of things. But disaster recovery, you come in when it's all gone anyway, so you can start from scratch. So you're just like, we need better transportation, better housing, but you're starting from the ground up. It may take longer, but you have less roadblocks, but everything's already, for lack of a better word, destroyed. So you know what I mean?
Yikes. So and then working with the city of New York, which is also somebody you work with, sounds equally daunting. So what are some of the crazy things you've gone through and experienced, or any interesting stories that you can actually share with us from working with the state of New York?
Yes. And I'll try to, now this is where the political capital hat comes on.
Yes.
So I've had very lively discussions with the the residents and the constituents of New York are very, very vocal when they're not getting the services that they want. And being on the other side, supplying the services as a consultant for the government, people are very vocal. And I think that we weren't ready for that, because when people want to get into their house, they want to get into their house, and they'll show up at your house and tell you that they want to get into their house. So I think the challenge was, that political landmine in that field, because, you represented the people, but you also were a private contractor, so it was very interesting.
Yeah, I can imagine. And it's like, I don't know, something about just New York has so many things going on all the time, so many different programs, so many different departments. When someone says they work for the city of New York, it's like, oh, like, you're one of those city worker folks, like, what do you do? So I just think I always find it interesting when I find people that work within the sector to talk about, like, what it is they do, because it just sort of shines a light on the entire organization, like, hey, it's not that scary, this is what this person does, like, there's branches.
And it's weird, because I was a private consultant, but I was embedded with the government. So I had a private company, but I basically functioned as a government employee, but I wasn't sort of under the same government regulations. Some of them, non-disclosures, but really not like on the pension path or any of that kind of stuff, because I was an outside consultant, but within it. And so it was very interesting to be like, I'm not a government employee, but I'm working like next to all these government employees every day. They have a different life.
So you're like the Olivia Pope, modern day Olivia Pope, working alongside the government on the sneak tip, like you're with that team.
Yeah.
That's kind of funny. So how does your business sort of help the community? What is it that you do, or what service is it that you provide to the community, or what are you giving back?
So we have nailed down our core competencies. So we deal with community development, and disaster recovery. We say we fuse them because the same money is in the same policies and structures when it comes down to having smart, thought out urban development that kind of looks after everyone within either the economic part or the affordable housing part. Mm-hmm. You have those skills, they're cross-referenced. So I work with developers, and we have a tagline, building better builders. It's like I work with them, so as their development projects are going up, it has a positive impact on the area, which is going up either through MWBE participation on the project, to hire local, really look at their affordable housing costs through the development phase. It's kind of hard to do it once the building's in construction. But if you can sit down at the table, and when there's just an idea, when they see a plot of land, to be like, this is how we can really develop it, and also, meet our mark, but also, really do something for the community instead of being seen as gentrifiers or takers. We need to, be able to give back. So that's what I do on the community development side. The disaster recovery side is when it hits, I'm there.
So you speak so passionately and so eloquently about what you're doing. What got you into this industry? What was that spark for you?
It was probably two things. I died when I was 22, so that whole thing that probably had something to do with it.
We need you to run that back. But yeah.
Yeah, that really probably had something to do with it. I got meningitis and I just dropped dead. But that's just it. And it was really bad and scary. I woke up, I didn't even know I woke up. Just woke up in the hospital, covered in tubes and everything, and deaf and paralyzed, and it was just like, what is going on here? And people just shocked. They're like, well, damn, you're still here. like we were just measuring you out.
Wait, were you sick and you just,
I don't know how I got the virus. Obviously, I was exposed to it, but there was 5 people within the community. Somehow, maybe I got in contact with one of them, but it was like a small, and got meningitis, and I was one of them, and fortunately, I was one that survived. A few of them didn't, and the one that did, besides me, was left in a much more, was left in a state where he could no longer take care of himself. It was like a nursing home and some brain damage because of what happens when you get meningitis. So,
wow.
So I think that experience shifted something, and I just started to see I started to understand, maybe not even see quite yet, the bigger picture in human development and understanding that I have to be a productive member of that and have to help in any way I can. But I hate saying help because it's not really helping. I'm not helping defenseless people. I'm helping people who can help themselves and do all kinds of great things.
You're facilitating.
Yeah, facilitating. I just hate saying help. It's not really help.
Yeah, we gotta find the source. So, yeah, I mean, wow. Like, my mom has had meningitis. She's had meningitis a few times, actually, believe it or not. It's not something you're supposed to bounce back from, but it ended up being she had MS. Mm-hmm. And if anybody's familiar with MS, it mimics other diseases, and then it, manifests itself as MS. So it was, MS manifesting itself as meningitis. So we're trying to figure it out, because she would, every year in the hospital, she'd be in the hospital for meningitis, and the doctors are like, you're not supposed to live from this. Like, you're not supposed to get meningitis multiple times. This is not something that you're supposed to have regularly. Like, something's going on. And they finally diagnosed her with the MS. She's totally fine now. She's like in remission, running around, running crazy, got her degrees, like she's good. But there was a while where this was regular for her. So to hear you tell your story, and you're like, I woke up and you were like, the other person's passed away and the other person's in a nursing home, I'm just in awe, because of just the caliber of disease that meningitis is and what it does to your body. Like, you're a strong person.
It's strange, but I'm really thankful that it happened. Some things that weren't fused to my memory, like if it wasn't like people who really had a deep connection, they were wiped away. I just saw people, they're like, oh, you remember we were? I was like, I have no idea who you are. I was like, but hey. I was like, so a lot of things just done, and it was actually a really, really spiritual moment. I remember before I went to the hospital, I was like at home in my apartment by myself. Completely sick. I went to the hospital before, they didn't test for that, they just gave me some pills and was just like, go home and be fine. And I remember laying in the bed, like as clear as day. Couldn't breathe, took all the medicine they told me, and as clear as I can hear you right now. I heard a voice say, if you don't get out this bed, like right now, you were going to die right here in this bed. And I just said it again, and by the third time I had rolled up, called 911, and was crawled to the door, was waiting for them. So whatever voice that is, it was very, very, very clear. And I think going through that process was what catalyst that changed a little bit. But
was it a voice you recognized, or was it a inner voice for you?
No, it was a voice saying, if you don't get out this bed right now,
I didn't need to know what the voice was.
You will die here. I'm very, very, I do, I believe in the higher self and a very spiritual person. So I do believe at that time there was something else being like, this is just this is not a cold. Like, you need to go.
Yeah, just your wake up call.
Yeah.
Wow. So, all right, switching back.
All right, sorry.
Reeling us back. So it says you're a non-governmental liaison, and you're also on the Brooklyn Community Board. What do those two positions do for you? Why join those organizations in addition to everything that you're already doing with the Monroe Group?
Well, I think with the community board is that I live in Bushwick, and I would see a lot of development. I come from a development background, so I know what's happening, and so I'm just seeing how the community is responding to it, and I needed to find that central point to see if they had the education and resources needed to be able to respond to the influx of development and the changing economic land structure. So I just want to be a part of it. So I went and thankfully Councilman Desmonde, I met him at an event upstate, Black and Latino caucus, and he was like, hey, that's my district, guys. I'd really like to have you in the community board and give her ideas. And one thing led to another. I was there, and we were able to do some really good things, but there is an actual, there is a taking of land and a stripping of economic opportunities for people. And the thing is, there are resources out there, but those resources aren't marketed. So if somebody doesn't find the resources and then bring them and market them, then people don't know. Then you have to push them through that process as well. So it's a whole thing. Yeah,
I hate to put you on the spot, but do you have an opinion of what's going on with some of the gentrification that's happening in Brooklyn and everything?
Yeah, I do. I wrote a spot in BuzzFeed about it because I just don't care if you yell at me. But I think it's racial and systematic and economic oppression, but it just makes it look really nice with Starbucks. I'm not calling out them, but I'm just saying it just makes it look really nice. But then when you really look at the back end and people who are developing with these tax subsidies like ICAP, or they're getting 421A tax subsidies for their properties, but then they're still charging like market rate when they're supposed to be doing subsidized stuff.
You just went down a whole financial rabbit hole that I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, okay.
you're gonna have to dumb that down a little bit.
All
Regular
right,
folk. It's like a 420 what now?
So developers and landlords get real big tax subsidies for developing if they say, I'm going to offer some affordable housing, or I'm going to, do something for this ICAP. And oftentimes they just don't do it. They get the tax subsidies, and some have been found with messing with rent rolls, basically submitting rent rolls, saying, yeah, this apartment is, it's a low income or moderate income, but yet, they charge the person living there is paying market rate, and no one even knows. And so it's kind of putting compliance and bringing that to fruition. I think that will just help, just so people just know the laws, what people are getting. They know they're able to ask more informed questions when they see buildings come up in their community, and then they can realize they do have a voice to actually stop it. Because as soon as you know the lingo, then you approach somebody and they're just like,
wait, they know. Mission, they know. So in terms of everything that you have going on, are there any other ventures that you are involved in, like anything else besides the community board, besides the liaison and the work with the Monroe group?
We're getting into software development, so that's been interesting. We've been taking basically what's in my brain and making applications, and I've been working with IBM. They've been really nice, and so when it comes down to compliance software, instead of having me there, they're taking it out of here and putting it in a platform with and working with another company, and just designing software for people to be able to use on the market when it comes to disaster recovery, business development. So we're just trying to slowly get my hands into
diversifying the portfolio.
But it's all the same. The thing is, it's all the same knowledge, right? So it's not like I'm learning something new. I'm just like, hey, just whatever I can, I'm just going to use it in as many mediums as possible, which most business people should try to do.
That makes sense. So what is your 5-year plan for the Monroe group then? Like, what is your plan moving forward? Even a 5-year, 10-year, whichever one you have mapped out. What is the plan?
I want to definitely continue to grow my relationship with the United Nations and take some projects overseas. I see us at least, being 20 employees, like strong, full-time, working on multiple projects, and coming to the point where we're actually developing affordable housing. There will be a branch of the company that will be strictly on building and developing actual affordable housing, so that people can, really afford and have a street for families. And I think with the right help and the right partners, that's very doable.
Yeah, 100%. The right partners can do anything. So what other plans do you have on the horizon? Are there any events coming up? Anything that you want to share with the audience in terms of events or meet and greets, anything like that?
There's a few things we're doing at Brooklyn Commons. May 23rd from 6 to 9, we're doing the MWBE Resource and Procurement Fair, and that's just the one of many series that's going to happen here throughout the year, and it's going to tackle different markets, such as tech, construction, healthcare, legal, and also just from my company, we're going to be launching kind of like a platform where people can come and basically they can get business advice, and they can talk to other mentors, and they can do kind of things. And because I know just some really smart people, and sometimes they're in different parts of the world, but if they can get online and give a daily dose of wisdom or something like that, motivation, I'm sure it'll definitely help people get through this entrepreneurial thing, because it's crazy.
So let's talk about this MWBE thing, because as a black-owned radio station, I'm interested. So
would you like to know?
Yes. You said May 23rd, right? From 6 p.m. to 9. What day is that?
That's a Thursday, right? That's a Thursday.
Okay. Yeah, and so are you looking for vendors or like?
We have some city vendors that we're looking for right now. We're encouraging MWBE firms or people who want to become certified to come in. But this is going to be the first one, and we're coming and get all the information you need. There'll be people that can help you through the sign up process on site. Okay. But also for people who already have existing MWBE businesses, it needs some coaching. There's going to be a panel. I'm going to be on a panel along with some other great speakers. Then we will have the actual vendors where you can look and you can see if there's contracts that suit your capabilities. But I encourage a lot of people to get their MWBE, because most people, and if people don't know, it's Minority Women Business Enterprise. You can get the certification through the city or through the state, and MTA and Port Authority have their own certifications. Now the city has, it's called One NYC. They have it on all city contracts, the 30 to 33% spend on all NWBEs. So that's all city and state contracts. Then you have the $20 billion set aside. So you have the contract values and you have $20 billion set asides. And there's not enough of us to take advantage of it. So we have to get the word out, get people certified, and get their businesses geared in order to take advantage of this while we still have it.
Heck yeah. We got a $20 billion pot sitting out there, and we're all just like, it's cool, it's over there though. Like, go over there, get that money.
Get that money. Right? Positioning yourself. Learn how to, and I'll teach you. Call me up. I'll let you, don't just call me up. But
So, lastly, a couple of last questions here. How are you using the Brooklyn Commons to further your goals and things like that?
I think it's become a central port of connection. So I've been able to have a space to incubate, these ideas and these thoughts. But then, because of its location and where it is, we've had a lot of just organic growth and organic teaming of people. And I think that hasn't happened somewhere. Plus, it's my district, so I feel like I gotta be a part of it and represent and work from a space that's within the Bushwick community workspace. I'm supporting local.
Yeah, definitely. You walk and talk. So if somebody was looking up to you and you had to give them a piece of advice if they're trying to get involved in community development or trying to get involved in maybe even disaster recovery or strategic planning, whatever, what kind of advice would you give that person who's looking to just start in the industry?
Find a really good mentor, because it's a high dollar industry. Disaster recovery and other stuff there's $300 some billion a year, so there's a lot of very smart people into it. But find yourself a good mentor and realize why you want to do it. You know what I mean? Is where you're building communities, you're really it's where you can actually connect your vocation or your skills with your spirit, with your higher self. Because you can definitely see the physical changes and the things that can happen. So you just have to really want to do it, and it takes a minute. And learn everything you can. Pick it up, read it, take a class, just keep doing it. Be smarter, faster, and stronger than everybody else. You'll get there.
All right. Well, Desmond, thank you so much for being with us today. Where can people find you and follow you and get in touch with you if they're interested?
We're on Facebook, the Monroe Group LLC, and then at the MonroeGroupLLC.com, and that's where you can find me. And if you're interested in looking for me, it's Desmond Monroe at Facebook. You can come and maybe send me a like and we'll talk and maybe I can give you some advice.
Excellent. Thank you so much for being on the show today. I appreciate it. Good luck with everything that you're doing, and I hope to see you around the building sometimes.
Definitely.
We'll be here.